time consuming, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I do have coaching slots available. Hey, Liz. So, a lot of you have been emailing me and direct messaging me on ways that you can work with me to deepen your practice a little bit more. And the two ways that you can work with me currently are through private coaching. So, if you want a more in depth transformation, hi, Brett. If you want me to help you specifically with some of the things that you're going through and tailor some attention to you and give you that accountability, and also mainly what people need help with when they get coaches is how to implement. Like, you may know what to do, but the problem is that you have problems actually implementing those things. So I have spots available for that. The second one is my personal mastery membership. That is a more low touch, is self coaching, where I provide you with information and modules. Every month you get a new module. And then I also have this community where I've built around other women that are trying to level up and trying to create a better life for themselves. So you're with like minded women. We do a live at the end of every month where we all just come together. And if there's any individual things that we have going on and we need help with coaching, I am available to do that because the group is a fairly small and intimate group. But then I also have touch points throughout the community, because I know that some of you, I know I've done this, you join a membership and you pay a lot of money and you never see the person that created the membership. They just do it basically to get the recurring income, but they're not there to help and support you. And that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to provide something, a more affordable option for people that need help but they can't quite invest in coaching. But also, if you're ready to take that step to make those deeper transformations, then you may want to think about private coaching. All right, so we are on doing our book study on the power of now. We've been doing this for a while. This is such a deep book that it's taken us forever to really get through it, but the information that we're getting is very helpful. And specifically in the chapter we'll be going over starting today is about relationships. So I know a lot of people, most of my clients have had either trauma or struggles in relationships and want to know how to create better, more enriching and fulfilling relationships. And so this chapter will help you with that. It's chapter 8. So for those of you that have this book, we're starting on page 145. I skipped chapter 7 because I feel like for a lot of us that come together in a platform like this, we may not all have similar views on, our spirituality or our spiritual basis. So I think that that's something that we can explore individually. And I would like us, hey Liz, and I would like us to spend more time actually focusing on things that are, not as deep, but still helpful. So again, we're talking about enlightened relationships today. That'll probably last through the rest of the week because you guys know how this book goes. So the person talking to Eckhart said that I always thought that true enlightenment is not possible except through love in a relationship between a man and a woman. Isn't that what makes us whole again? How can one's life be fulfilled until that happens? And so Eckhart is like, really? Has this happened to you? Like, have you really not been able to feel fulfilled unless you had a man or a woman to make you feel whole? And then the person said, not yet, but how could it be otherwise? I know it will happen. And I'm sure there's a lot of you that have been taught, we've all kind of been taught in our society that the way to wholeness and completeness is to be in a loving relationship, instead of learning that true, loving and enhancing relationships come from us getting in a relationship with someone that has their own independent flow, their own independent journey. However, we're able to come together to enhance each other's lives. So he says, in other words, you are waiting for an event in time to save you. How many of us at one time or another, maybe consciously, maybe unconsciously, so you may not be able to answer it, are waiting for an event, and specifically today, since we're talking about relationships, waiting on a relationship to make you feel whole? This is something that I had to examine, because a lot of times when you get in a relationship with somebody and the relationship is good, it's easy for us to say that the relationship is not what makes us feel complete. However, we do have to question how much weight we put on our relationships when maybe we change for relationships. Maybe when we don't have that relationship, we kind of fall apart and we kind of feel empty. That does have us question that. Yeah, it's easy to say that you don't put your weight on relationships when they're going good, but when they go bad and you start to lose a sense of self, a sense of identity around that, then you may in fact be in a position where you are unknowingly allowing your connection to other people define your worth, thereby allowing the presence of a relationship to be a savior in your life. He says, is this not the core error that we have been talking about? Salvation is not elsewhere in place or in time, or I'm going to say event, since we're talking about love and relationships. True salvation is in here and now. And so the person said, what does salvation in here and now mean? I don't understand that, and I don't know what salvation means. So Eckhart says that most people pursue physical pleasures or various forms of psychological gratification because they believe that those things will make them happy or free them from feeling of fear or lack, feelings of fear or lack. Happiness may be perceived as a heightened sense of aliveness attained through physical pleasure or a more secure and more complete sense of self attained through some sort of psychological gratification. This is the search for salvation from a state of unsatisfactoriness or insufficiency. Invariably, any satisfaction that is obtained in this way, so if you are trying to find satisfaction in anything other than the now, in anything other than you being the powerful being that you were meant to be, and trying to express that as much as possible on the day-to-day, then whatever else you are looking for to try to create that connection, to try to create that satisfaction or happiness, is going to be short-lived. Let's see what he said. So the condition of satisfaction or fulfillment is usually projected onto an imaginary point away from the here and now. So if you are already in a relationship, it may be when I have a baby, when we get married, when we move in together, then this is just going to be the ultimate, right? You start to put these little milestones that we've created in society on a pedestal and allow ourselves to be pulled out of the here and now. Or else we say, when I obtain this or I am free from that, then I will be okay. When I get out of debt, when I make more money, when I have my baby, when I don't know, whatever it is that you try to use to justify you not being happy in the now and putting it into some illusion or place in the future. This is the unconscious mindset that creates the illusion of salvation in the future. And this may be a little sore, sensitive spot, because for some of you that follow certain religions and maybe don't really understand the essence of the religion that you follow, a lot of you are thinking that you can't have the happiness in the now, and the ultimate happiness is somewhere projected in the future. Not trying to get into a sensitive spot. I just want you to start to understand that if part of you being in your true power place and having this human experience, and if your God or your universe doesn't make mistakes, then there is an ultimate reason why your beautiful soul is here now. And that may be because there is some sort of ultimate happiness here on earth that you may want to tap into, instead of living in this sadness and this fear and this martyrdom or this suffering that you create, rather than pull yourself out of that by, again, living in your power. True salvation is fulfillment, it's peace, it's life at its fullest, life at its fullness. It is to be who you are, to feel within the good that is inside of you, the joy of being that depends on nothing outside of you. You just show up and you just be. It is felt not as a passing experience. So you don't feel it once, right? And then it goes away. When you learn to tap into this energy and you learn to live life from this space, this is an abiding presence that you feel on the day to day. And this is important. And this is a reason why I teach what I teach, and really harp on spirituality. And spirituality and religion, two different things, right? But the spirituality means that you have this vision and this connection with something much higher than what you're experiencing on the day to day, because relationships change, finances change, jobs change, health changes, right? Those things go up and down. But when you are living in your full power and your presence, you are much more easily able to continue to experience fulfillment and peace and all that life has to offer you, no matter what is going on, no matter what is thrown your way, no matter what highs and lows you have to go through. When you learn how to live life in this way that he is talking about, in the way in which I coach my clients, in the way that I teach you guys. In He said, in like a religious terms, this is like to know God, not as something outside of you, but as your own innermost essence. True salvation is to know yourself as an inseparable part of the timeless and formless one life from which all that exists derives its being. You have to understand that, because until you can tap into this power, I'm not saying that you won't have relationships that are fulfilling, but your relationships that are fulfilling will be based on that connection alone, or that connection wholly, or even mostly, as well as the ups and downs that you experience in life. And the issue with that is that you don't create this heaven on earth for yourself until you live from this space. And you will start to see that even if you have the best relationship that you've ever had in your life, when you learn to live life from this space, it just gets better and better and better and easier. And it doesn't have to be work. And it just moves the way it needs to move, because you are showing up in your godlike essence, your Christ-like essence, if you are someone that is a little bit more religious. True salvation is a state of freedom from fear, from suffering, from a perceived state of lack and insufficiency, and therefore you're free from wanting someone or something. You're free from needing something or someone, or grasping or clinging. It is freedom from compulsive thinking, freedom from negativity, and above all, freedom from the past and the future as a psychological need. Your mind is telling you that you cannot get there from here. Something needs to happen for you to become this or that, or for you to be able to experience freedom and to be fulfilled. Your mind is tricking you, because you can access this information, this feeling, this state of being and living at any moment that you choose to do it. But the choice is yours. And until you understand this, a lot of the struggle in your life is going to come from your relationships. And that could be your intimate relationships or your familiar relationships, friendships, the people that you work with, because that seems to be a trigger or a catalyst for us to get into our fields, which is a catalyst for you to start to examine and understand the energy that you approach your life with. Your mind is telling you that you need time, that you need to find, sort out, do stuff, achieve, acquire, become, or understand something before you can be free or complete. And that is absolutely not true. You can be maybe not where you want to be optimally compared to what it is that you want to achieve, your goals, etc. You may be healing. You may be trying to create this material life for yourself, or whatever it is for you. We're all trying to work and strive towards something. And if we are people that are setting goals for ourselves, then there are going to be times where we're not where we want to be, and we have this vision for ourselves. However, it doesn't mean that just because you aren't where you want to be, that you can't be whole or complete. And a lot of people don't get that. And then we start grasping. We start grasping for this hit of energy from all of these different things outside of ourselves to give us this false sense of being free or being complete. And when we continue to seek it in that manner, we never find it. We just end up living life on this hamster wheel, wondering why, no matter what we try to manipulate in our circumstances and our relationships, why we aren't getting the results that we want. And the issue is because you need to understand first and foremost that that is not how life works. The way that it works is from you becoming the highest version of yourself, your highest and best self. And when you do that, life melts around you. Life opens up for you. Life unfolds through you. So if you're someone that still feels like these circumstances, situations, and relationships are things that you can change based on what you see right now, or if you're someone that thinks that, you wake up, you do work, you do your relationships, you take care of your kids, and then you just handle whatever life throws your way, then you're totally missing the mark. And I bet there's a little bit of frustration, burnout, just not feeling like you have a purpose, a little bit of apathy that shows up when you don't understand truly what your purpose is here on this life. And the first thing that you need to do, the first way to find your purpose, is to tap into your highest and best self and live from that space. The air just came on, so I hope you guys will still be able to hear me. All right, it says, you see time as a means to salvation, whereas in truth, time is the greatest obstacle to salvation. You think that you can't get there from where and who you are at this moment because you are not yet complete, or you don't think that you're good enough. But the truth is that here and now is the only point from where you can get there. Do you get it? The past is done. It's not real, right? And the future is not real either. So the only way that you're going to connect to this freedom and this being free from suffering and feeling complete, the only way that you can start to even get there is to do it from where you are right now. You get there by realizing that you are there already. You find God the moment that you realize that you don't need to seek these things. I'm not going to say just seek God. I'm going to say you don't need to seek freedom. You don't need to seek being complete. You don't need to seek fulfillment. It's right there ready for you to take and own and, grab and live. But the problem is you just don't do it because maybe you don't understand it, right? We haven't been taught this way. So there is no only way to salvation. Any condition can be used, but no particular condition is needed. However, there's only one point of access to anything, right? Whether you're going to use the moment of breath that you have to be your highest and best self now, or if you're going to use it to continue to know what it is that you need to do to live a better life but not live it, the only point of access to make either choice, right, and continue to make either choice is the now and the now and the now, because that's the only thing that's real. There can be no salvation away from this moment. You're lonely and without a partner? Enter the now from there. Are you in a relationship? Enter the now from there. There is nothing you can ever do or attain that will get you closer to salvation than it is in this moment, because nothing else is real. This is the only moment that's real. So don't think of it, space and time are an illusion that we made up. It's a tool, right, that we can use for practical purposes, but a lot of us are stuck in time and we think that time is real, when again, the only moment that is real is now. And so if you want to learn how to redefine your life and live life fully, it's not about what you're going to do 10 minutes from now or 10 hours from now or 10 years from now. The way that you're going to shape all of this and live a better life and be in this freedom and completeness and wholeness is by what you are doing right now. This may be hard to grasp for a mind that is accustomed to thinking everything worthwhile is in the future. I just said that. And I'm guilty of that, right? Especially as a goal oriented person, I'm always, thinking about where my next move is going to be. But I always have to consciously, and this is a conscious choice. That's why I preach and I coach and I teach personal mastery, because it's something that you have to struggle with, maybe, and something that you have to do on the day to day. It's not something you just make one choice to live and then it just stays that way. No, this is a conscious decision that you have to make moment to moment to moment in order for you to live in your highest and fullest. And so, again, remember, yes, you can have these goals and you can have these milestones in our metaphorical future. But the way that you get to them is not by focusing on that. It's by what are you going to do in these moments that you have now, the only real moments that count, in order to make the future that you experience what it is that you want it to be. Keep waiting for something to come and save you. Keep waiting for more money, more time, healing, somebody to apologize to you. Keep waiting for all of that stuff. You're going to be wasting the only moments that you truly have, the moments that you live in right now, waiting on something else. And because you're waiting on something else, you're not living fully. Because if you got one foot out there and one foot in here, I don't care what you say, you're not present. And so, therefore, you're not living life as fully as you could be. You cannot multitask presence. And so, that's something I want you to understand. Let's see. Nothing can, nor can anything you ever did or has done to you in the past prevent you from saying yes. So he's just saying the same thing, just basically reiterating what I just said, that a lot of times what we will do too is let our past prevent us from saying yes to what is and taking our attention in the now. A lot of times, particularly and understandably, so it's not saying that, we don't understand that we are humans that have experienced pain and affliction and all of this stuff. So that's something that's very real and it's something that we have to deal with. But a lot of the times, what frustrates me about Western society is that we sometimes get so wrapped up in the story, in the past, revisiting the past, healing the past, that we don't focus on taking the steps forward. And that could be a little bit controversial for some people, but I believe that there is a way for those to live simultaneously and you to work on those things simultaneously. But a lot of people don't. They think that they have to go back and heal every trauma that's ever happened and re-examine why their mama did this and why their daddy did this, all of the things that we'll probably never know because we don't know your mom and your dad. So it's all speculation about what they could have, should have, would have been thinking, when in all actuality, you can continue, or you can take this moment right now and say yes to life in spite of, right? So that's a decision for you to make. You can't do it in the future. You can't go back and do it in the past. You can only do it right now. So that's pretty deep. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about love-hate relationships. So those of you that have been in these destructive and negative cycles in your relationships, you may want to join us tomorrow, just to see what we're talking about. Like I said, all this week probably we'll be talking about relationships, and that seems to be, as humans, our biggest struggle, because that's also where we learn our biggest lessons. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. I'm going to pause here because that is a very deep concept that we've been talking about. So if there are any questions or comments about what we talked about today, go ahead and type them in the comment box, because I know that there is a little bit of a delay and I want to make sure that I see your question. So Maddie said, yes, that is what happened to me, and it stopped me from focusing for over a year of my life. Yeah, so, and it's happened to me as well. So when I first got divorced, so before I knew all this stuff, right, I already lived in the mindset that, and I had to, get the job and the house and the career and the husband and all of the things in order to say that I had made it in life, instead of just focusing on the beauty of life that I was living then. And that's just the way that we were taught. But then when I got divorced, there are two different, well, not two, there's a lot of different types of therapy, right? But there's this kind of therapy called emotions based therapy, and then there's a kind of therapy called cognitive therapy that wants you in all this other kind of therapy. What I find is that there's this therapy that wants you to, while it is valuable for some people, looking at the past, rehashing the past, just going through all the motions and trying to figure out what shoulda, coulda, why it got you to where you wanted to be. What I found for my particular need, because I was going through my spiritual awakening and have been much more self-aware, was that even if back and I thought about all of these things happened to me, yes, it would give me an understanding of those things, but I could also just be in a more solution based therapeutic type of environment. Thought about, well, okay, all this stuff is in a little package. Now, to move forward and be solution oriented, how can we now change how the future doesn't have to repeat itself, how the things that have happened to me in the past happen, in the future. And you don't always need to understand everything about yourself that happened back there to be a better person. Because if we all took some time to sit and meditate on what the highest version of ourselves would be, we can clearly see and envision what that would be for us in this moment of life that we are in right now, without having to think about this happened, that happened, why did it happen? We know what that looks like. So if you took some of that energy, or maybe all of that energy, if you are in alignment with what I'm talking about, and just focus on being that better version, it doesn't discount the past. But what it does is allow you to understand that you don't have to go back there in order to move forward. Again, not for everybody, just telling you the perspective that I've experienced from my reality. And so I really, my heart bleeds for a lot of people that find that when they open up trauma and they try to revisit trauma, that it pulls them back into this energy that they're trying to get out of. But there's no focus on moving forward, and not moving forward like a little step here, or how can you forgive? No, sometimes you could just learn the steps that you need to take to become the ideal version of yourself, and watch God, watch the universe, watch energy, watch the healing just unfold from you becoming your best version of yourself. Just a different perspective to think about. Again, could be a little bit controversial, but that's what I experienced. So my therapy, she always wanted to talk about the past, and I honestly didn't have much to talk about, because to me, that wasn't what I needed. I wanted to just be a better person and not live life under the limiting beliefs that had put me in the position that I was in, where I didn't know myself. And so for me, it's like, well, how can we do that? And it didn't have anything to do with the past. It had to do with me defining clearly who I wanted to be in the future, and then creating the steps, the game plan, the actions that I needed to take in those moments in order for me to build a foundation that was better than what was created in the past. All right, so that was long-winded. The Power of Now. We are talking about this book Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you like what you hear and you want more resources, I also have a 5 video. There's 5 classes, a 5 video course to help you to kind of learn how to reconnect with yourself again, your intuition, learn how to tap into that connection that you may have lost, or create some balance in your life. If you want to get access to that class, you can text the word mastery to the following phone number. The phone number is 833-231-4407, and those courses will be delivered to your email. Again, if this is something you struggle with and you're tired of trying to figure it out on your own, and you want help and you want coaching to help you learn some true proven principles that help you to live, from this best version of yourself, to create a self-concept for yourself, because from that self-concept, you start to act different. You start to put out a different energy. You start to attract different circumstances and relationships, because remember, I told you, life unfolds through you. And so the catalyst to all that is you. And if that's something you help with, you can, the link is in my bio, but if you're on any other platform along with this video, there should be a link for you to contact me if you want to learn more about working with me through private coaching. I will see you all tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time. Power of Now, book study. All right, take care. Yeah.